It's Monday, February 10th, 2025. It's the 41st day of the year, and we've got a tremendous amount to discuss today. Pickles are green, so we had to turn the green screen off. And if you don't know what that's about, go watch my previous video for context. But here's what you really need to know. Record high temperatures are surging into the Great Plains as a long-awaited thaw is finally headed toward the East Coast. However, keep your guard up because this warm-up is absolutely a trap. A potent storm system is gathering strength for this weekend, with serious threats of heavy rain, winter weather, and potentially even some severe weather. So let's get right into this forecast. This school closure map was completely filled just a couple of days ago, but schools are still closed across Kentucky, portions of West Virginia, extending up toward Pennsylvania, Ohio, and New York. I expect this list is going to get even shorter over the next couple of days because we're seeing a major resurgence of warm air moving into areas that have just been absolutely bombarded by Arctic blast after Arctic blast. But once again, this warm-up is going to come with a serious price, more than likely in the form of dangerous weather. Looking at today's temperatures, we're approaching 80 degrees across Texas, over 80 degrees in multiple locations across Texas. We're seeing upper 70s in Oklahoma and Kansas. We're talking about very warm temperatures extending all the way up into Nebraska. And watch what happens as this pattern evolves. That warm air is going to get somewhat suppressed toward the south and east, but it's still going to funnel significant warmth all the way up into the mid-Atlantic region over the next couple of days. The southeast is going to be absolutely gorgeous. We're looking at 76 degrees in Shreveport, 76 in Montgomery, Alabama, 72 in Mobile, 70 in Columbia, South Carolina. It's going to feel genuinely wonderful in Nashville at 73 degrees. Can you imagine how incredible 73 degrees is going to feel in Nashville tomorrow after all the brutal cold and ice storms they've endured? If you're someone who enjoys warm weather, here's some potentially good news. We don't expect this pattern to disappear anytime soon. Over the next 10 days, a large atmospheric ridge is going to maintain warmer temperatures for pretty much everyone east of the Rocky Mountains. Even in the Rockies, temperatures will run above average. The only areas experiencing below average temperatures over the next 6 to 10 days will be across the extreme western United States. Now, it's not going to feel like summer or spring all the time. It's still winter, so even average temperatures can feel cold. But overall, our departures will be above average in all the areas outlined in red on this forecast map. We could see an even more significant warm-up next week as we progress past Valentine's Day into February 16th. We're seeing a strong signal for a massive blob of warm air to establish itself over the center of the country. This could bring temperatures potentially over 40 degrees above average. It's going to feel like an actual heat wave in South Dakota and North Dakota if these temperature forecasts verify. Notice how this warmth propagates all the way down into the Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley, and into the southeast as well. This is definitely something we're going to monitor very closely. But here's the critical issue. This massive warm air mass is probably going to end up causing some serious problems. You simply cannot get this level of temperature variation without experiencing significant storm development. And the big challenge right now is that none of the computer models can agree on exactly what kind of storm system we're dealing with. Our winter storm outlook, which is automated and combines multiple different models, is showing potential wintry impacts in the Ohio Valley on day 6. That's 6 days from now. Then on day 7, we're looking at a potential nor'easter type storm according to several models. But simultaneously, many other models are projecting a warmer storm scenario, leading to potential heavy rain and thunderstorms across the deep south. In fact, we're implementing our maybe, and mayest outlook for the time period between February 14th and February 16th. Where it's very possible we'll see some sort of severe weather situation developing. It's way too early to discuss specific details. That's exactly why we use the maybe scale. But it's definitely possible that this region could experience heavy rain, thunderstorms, and severe weather this weekend. Here's what this scenario looks like on the European model. You can see showers and storms building across the southern plains as we head into Saturday. This activity is going to spread very quickly across the deep south and eventually into the southeast region. If we actually develop a low pressure center like this that brings cold air down on the backside, it will have plenty of Gulf moisture to work with. Obviously, right along that cold front, there's probably going to be some severe weather potential. It doesn't look massive right now, but it's definitely there and on the table for consideration. And then, of course, on the northern side of this system, we have to discuss snow potential. This is what our winter outlook is detecting as we move into Monday. Potentially some heavy snow across the northeast on the backside of that storm system. Again, this is long-range forecasting, so there's significant uncertainty involved. Keep that limitation in mind as we discuss these possibilities. One thing I would say is more certain than anything else is the likelihood that we'll see substantial precipitation across the southeast. Most of this will obviously be rain with maybe some snow on the northern edge, but I think over the next 7 days from Oklahoma City to Atlanta, there are going to be multiple locations that receive more than 2 to 3 inches of rain, potentially even 4 to 5 inches in some isolated areas. This is going to represent the most significant rain event we've seen in weeks across the southeast. So prepare for that possibility, along with potential severe weather. But right now, let's classify it as a heavy rain threat. Now, focusing on more immediate concerns, since we've covered the long-term outlook, winter is definitely not finished with the northeast yet. Before we start discussing any warm air penetrating that region, we have a clipper system moving through over the next couple of days that requires attention. This isn't a blockbuster storm or a nor'easter, but it's going to be a nuisance impacting areas from western New York over to Boston and Maine. The timing is crucial because it's going to move into upstate New York Tuesday afternoon, then spread across New England Tuesday night into Wednesday, affecting the Wednesday morning commute. This system will bring generally 1 to 4 inches of snow across the region. There might be a few locations that receive more snow than that range. We could see 6 inches of snow across certain portions of Maine, and potentially more than 4 inches in some valleys across Vermont and New Hampshire. Of course, we'll see higher accumulations at elevated locations. After the clipper passes, the lake effect snow machines will activate. If you're located downstream from any of the Great Lakes, you could obviously see more than that 1 to 4 inch range. But this is generally a minor impact system we're examining. A more significantly impactful storm may develop over the next couple of days along the west coast, where we're tracking an atmospheric river bringing heavy rain and snow to California and parts of the Intermountain West. This could even generate thunderstorm risks on Wednesday between San Francisco and Bakersfield. We'll continue monitoring this system as well. It doesn't appear this will be a huge storm, but this represents the beginning of a train of potential atmospheric rivers that will continue through February. The signal is looking like it's going to become quite active in this region, so prepare for this event and understand there will be more systems to follow. This warm-up we're experiencing is absolutely a trap because it's setting up perfect conditions for a major weather event. When you get this much warm, moist air surging northward and it eventually collides with colder air masses, you create the perfect recipe for significant storm development. The Valentine's Day time period is looking increasingly concerning from a severe weather and winter storm perspective. We could be looking at a classic setup where the southern tier of states experiences severe thunderstorms, heavy rain, and possibly tornadoes, while areas farther north deal with heavy snow and winter storm conditions. This is exactly the type of pattern that produces memorable weather events. The temperature contrasts we're seeing are simply too dramatic to not result in significant atmospheric disturbances. For those in the southeast who are enjoying this warm weather, definitely take advantage of it, but start thinking about severe weather preparedness. Make sure your weather alert systems are functioning, review your severe weather safety plans, and keep an eye on forecast updates as we get closer to the weekend. For areas in the Northeast and Ohio Valley, don't put away your winter weather gear just yet. This warm-up is temporary, and there are strong signals for winter weather to return, possibly in a significant way. The broader pattern we're seeing represents a classic late winter setup where you get these dramatic temperature swings that eventually lead to major storm systems. It's a pattern that can produce everything from tornadoes to blizzards, sometimes within the same weather system. From an agricultural perspective, this warm-up could be problematic if it's followed by a return to freezing temperatures. Any premature plant growth triggered by these warm temperatures could be damaged by subsequent cold snaps. From an energy standpoint, the warm-up will provide temporary relief from heating costs, but if we do see a return to winter conditions after this warm spell, energy demands could spike again quite dramatically. The atmospheric river activity along the west coast is also worth monitoring closely. California has been dealing with drought conditions in many areas, so any beneficial rainfall is welcome. However, atmospheric rivers can also produce too much precipitation too quickly, leading to flooding and debris flow concerns, especially in areas affected by recent wildfires. For the Great Lakes region, this warm-up could affect ice coverage, which impacts both navigation and lake effect snow potential. Reduced ice coverage typically leads to increased lake effect snow production when cold air does return. The storm signal we're tracking for the Valentine's Day weekend has the potential to be quite significant. Early indications suggest it could affect a large portion of the country, with different impacts depending on your location relative to the temperature boundary. We'll continue monitoring computer model runs closely as they come into better agreement about the specifics of this system. Right now, there's still considerable uncertainty about exact placement, timing, and intensity, but the overall pattern suggests something notable will develop.
That's all the weather analysis I have for you today. We'll have additional updates throughout the week as we get closer to that storm system developing around Valentine's Day. That's definitely the biggest weather story I'm tracking right now. It's still unclear exactly what this system will look like when it fully develops. We could be discussing major snow somewhere. We could be talking about a significant severe weather threat, or we might end up with a nuisance snow event combined with heavy rainfall. I'm not ringing any alarm bells right now, but we're definitely going to keep monitoring the weather situation together. Remember, this February warm-up is a trap. Enjoy it while it lasts, but be prepared for potentially significant weather changes ahead.